I just can't let you go. Lord knows that I've tried to. You said I was the only one. No one likes being lied to. You made this mess and left me with the pieces. Now I wanna burn all the bridges between us. I can't forget. I've been thinking too much lately. I just need to clear my head. I just need to clear my head. I've been stuck on your memory, but it's not like I need it. And we may have some history, but we don't have to repeat it. You made this mess and left me with the pieces. Now I'm gonna burn all the bridges between us. I can't forget. I've been thinking too much lately. I just need to clear my head. 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 I just need to. I just need to clear my head. I just need to. I just need to clear my head. I just need to. I just need to clear my head. I just need to. I just need to clear my head. I can't focus. I can't forget. I've been thinking too much lately. I just need to clear my. I just need to clear my head. Oh, clear my head. I just need to clear my head. I just need to clear my head.
Yo, 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 yo! How is everyone doing tonight? My name is Phoebe Thomas, and today we will be covering the Austin Texas Grand Prix here in Speed Force Racing. It is going to be season 15, round 8 of the Austin Grand Prix today in Speed Force Racing. Speed Force Racing is a league, an F1 league, and they are organizing weekly races in their league, which is going to be Div 2 on Mondays and Div 1 on Tuesdays. So make sure to check them out if you haven't already. But I will be covering your Div 2 race tonight here in Austin. So we have got that beautiful track, Austin, one of the more beautiful tracks on the grid. I do have to say that on the calendar, I must say. You've got a beautiful Sector 1, a lot of S's, a lot of high-speed corners. Turn 1, a good overtaking opportunity. You're coming into Turn 2. It's going to be a fast right-hander, another fast left-hander, a fast right-hander, which is going to be Turn 4. 5, 6 is going to be a slow, kind of fast right-hander. Then we're heading into Sector 2, which is going to be a slow left-hander, which is going to be Turn 7. We've got another slow right-hander, Turn 8, and then we've got another slow left-hander, Turn 9. And then we're heading into Turn 10 and 11. Turn 11, which is kind of a slow corner, kind of reminds me of Abu Dhabi Turn 5. And then we're heading into that long straight, which you do have the same in Abu Dhabi. It's actually at the same position. If you look at the track, it's also at the top right. And then we're heading into Turn 12, it's 90 degrees corner to your left, and then we're entering Sector 3, heading into Turn 13, slow left-hander, slow right-hander, slow left-hander, and then we've got a very long right-hander where usually a lot of guys tend to crash and lose their car. And then we're heading into the last couple of corners, which is going to be Turn 15 and 16, if I'm not mistaken, or Turn 16 and 17. I'm not 100% sure. But those are going to be two left-handers, and well, that's a lap around Texas. But we're currently on board with Kaz. I'm just going to take a quick sip of water because I noticed that I didn't water my throat enough, so my mouth, whatever you want to call it. So as you can see, Kaz currently heading into Sector 3. A beautiful corner section here as you're really able to attack down the inside through these corners, especially through this one. You can just shove it down the inside, and I mean, usually 9 out of the 10 times you're gonna make it work. 1 out of the 10 times you're gonna spin someone out, but I guess it's worth the risk, isn't it? Welcome everyone in the chat, Martin and Daniel. How are you guys doing tonight? So we're heading into a lap with Mr. Gas, the Ferrari driver, not really known for his fast qualifying times, but maybe we might be able to see if he's going to be able to put himself in the top 10 today. Heading into Turn 1, slow braking zone, hard braking zone, slow corner, and we're heading into Turn 2, fast right-hander, and then with a fast left-hander. It's actually a right-left, something like that, as you can see here. Very difficult corner section. You do need a lot of wings to be able to make this work. He lifts a little bit there. Might have not been the best way to go. And now he's heading into that fast left-hander as he wants to touch that curb as much as possible on the exit. And also here, wants to take as many curb as possible on the entry, which he doesn't seem to be doing. On the exit, he does do it, so that's great. But I'm not sure if you should take the exit there on the curb on the exit there, because it might lose some time. It might lose you some time going into Sector 2. And we've got that 90 degrees corner, Turn 12. And then we've got that good overtaking section here in Austin, as you can easily make a dive bomb into there. Also in this corner, beautiful corner section, I do have to say that. It reminds me a little bit of Turkey, this corner section, with that triple corner. I don't know what it is. It's in the last sector. Mark Werty puts himself on pole for now, 138.0, and we've got Mindful Wasp already beating his time, 134.0. And Cass coming around the last corner. It won't be the fastest lap, I'm afraid, but it will be a 134.8 right behind Mr. Alex Hawk, who has put a 134.883. And now Keeves coming across the line with a 133.7, not a bad lap at all. Might want to go on board with Mr. Wiggles, as he did invalidate, so we want to go to someone else. Kvyat. We've got the one and only Kvyat in the chat, well, in the race. He's currently in P15. He took the AlphaTauri car, which is quite, you know, funny because Kvyat used to race in the AlphaTauri too. As he's coming around the last corner to put himself in P6 for now. Welcome Noldes in the chat. How are you, buddy? Let's go with the V car here. Coming around the last corner. It'll be a 134.9. Not bad. Second to last time. Mr. Wiggles, is he going to go for another one? He is indeed. Just entered Sector 1. Does he have enough ERS spare? Yes, indeed he does. As he's flying through the corners. Oh, look at that beautiful corner section he took. I mean, the curb, it's just magic if you're able to manage and take the curbs as much as possible and don't lose your car anywhere. We saw Mr. Wiggles going into turn 7. He had a little bit of a snap there. As he's currently going into turn 11. Here he goes. Doesn't take too much curb on the entry. I mean, on the outside of the corner there. And down the main straight. The guys will have a lot of like straight line speed here if they don't run too many. When they don't use too many wings. But I think... I mean, I'm not sure what the best setup is for this track because... You want to be fast through Sector 1 and Sector 3, but you also don't want to be a snail through Sector 2, if that makes sense. Because Sector 2 is mainly straight line speed. As you can see, there's one very long straight in Sector 2 coming out of turn 11. And you do need a lot of wings. You don't need a lot of wings coming down that straight. Welcome Salome in the chat. Also Glock in the chat. Welcome, buddy. How are you guys doing? Mr. Wiggles, only a P15. I feel like Mr. Wiggles has been worse than last season compared to the rest of the grid. Calvin Racing currently on pole. I didn't expect anything else. 133.5. And so coming down the line, down the straight. Coming down the line, what am I saying? You got a little bit of a tow there from the McLaren driver. Was it a McLaren driver? I think it was, wasn't it? No, it was a Haas driver. It was his teammate. Ah, then it makes more sense. It was Oliver giving him a little tow. Oliver, who is on an outlap still, so... Not too much to worry about for Mr. Oliver. As Mansell, he's flying through this part of the track. He might have needed to go a little bit tighter through that corner. Down the line in a couple of seconds. It will be a possible pole time. It will be a possible pole time. A P3 for Mansell. 133.7. Only 3/10 away from Calvin Racing. So might want to go to the back of the grid. It's Cassidy, one of the other fast drivers here on the grid. The Red Bull driver managing to do some crazy stuff already these last couple of races. But let's see if he's going to put himself on pole. I don't think he will be putting himself on pole because Calvin Racing's time is just a little bit too competitive. You know, 133.5. I don't think anyone else will be able to do that during this part of the qualifying. Maybe at the end of the qualifying. But then also Calvin will have the opportunity when the track is a little bit heated up to... Oh, a Dashkern disqualified from the session, blocking the pit lane. As apparently he was stuck somewhere in the pit lane and, you know... If he can get out, he can get out, but he will be disqualified from disqualifying. Cassidy in P2, only 300s away from Calvin Racing. So not bad at all. Oliver is on a fast lap now. He's the one getting a tow from his teammate. And he's training all of the ERS he has. Mansell I'm talking about there. Calvin is sandbagging apparently, according to Smoke in the chat. Oliver has the fastest second sector. I'm wondering how he's going to be able to do here in Sector 3. And he's coming around that fast right-hander. Absolutely. A beautiful corner section, but the problem is, around Texas, your tires are going to be, like, boiling. And when your tires are boiling, heading into... boiling, hear me. Boiling. When your tires are boiling, going into that... long right-hander, you're easily going to lose the car and you're just going to end up in the wall, and that is going to cause a couple of safety cars I think today, but I'm not 100% sure if I'm being honest. Toot Cars puts himself in P6 as we might want to go at the back of the grid with Ellie As Ellie, I don't think she had a pretty good performance last week, but the week before that in Baku, I think she got a P2 or a P3. It's taking this corner section a little bit awkward. Doesn't go off throttle too much going into that fast left-hander, so that's quite nice. And ooh, that is a little bit awkward there from the McLaren driver. As we're heading into sector 2, of course, that long straight here around Austin, Texas. And a little fun fact about Austin, Texas. This Grand Prix has one of the most attendees each year on the calendar. I think last year we had about 550,000 people. I think it has been one of the most visited Grand Prix ever. I think Melbourne might have been a little bit more. I'll have to Google that if I'm being honest, but I think that this one together with Melbourne and then another one, I'm not 100% sure, maybe Mexico, is one of the biggest Grand Prix, if not the biggest, on the calendar, attendees wise, you know, people who show up and come and watch the race, because I mean Austin is such a big track. It's like, I think it's one of the biggest. You have Belgium, of course, Spa-Francorchamps, which is the biggest, which is 7.0 kilometers, if I'm not mistaken. I think Austin is 6.4 or 5.8, but I could be wrong. But Ellie is gonna go for another one. Her last qualifying. Is she gonna go for another one? I don't think she has enough ERS. I'm over by 250,000. I don't think so, Daniel. Have a look at that. Am I over it? I don't think so, though. Most attendee. I'm not talking about the race. I'm talking about the whole weekend, though. F1 race. Let me have a quick look. F1 race. You might want to focus to someone else, though. Let me go with Alex here. He's not up on his time. Highest attended F1 races of all time. Let me have a quick look. Race records. There we go. Oh. Attended F1 weekends. Formula 1 Grand Prix attendance. Okay, so the United States is the biggest with 400,000 people. Yeah, whole weekend, Daniel. Apparently, Calvin is improving here. He's up by 2/10 already as he's heading into that last sector. No, I don't think they go by race day. They usually just put a number of Calvin with a 133.3. They usually just use the whole weekend number, I think, because I think the most was Melbourne with 550,000. I could be wrong, or it was Austin, but I could be wrong though. I think Melbourne was the most in 2020, something like that. Let me go on board with Matt G here. 2 seconds down. I don't think he will be able to improve. Mindful Was might be up on his time, but he invalidated already. Kvyat not up on his time. How is Doran doing? He might be up on his time here, heading into that last part of the track. Heading into the last corner. Doran, the Alpine driver. He's going to improve, though. He's going to improve big time, I think. 134.2. 4/10 of an improvement will put him in the top 10 for now. But don't think he will be there for too long, as we've got Mr. Wiggles on the lap. He's not improving. I think he gave his teammate a little tow. The V-car with a 134.9 at the moment. But heading into that last part of the track, he might be up on his time. I'm not 100% sure. 126 or 127 or 128. I don't think he will be improving by too much. Will be a 134, but by how much? He's improved by 5/10. Puts himself in P12. Not a bad lap at all from the V-car. I think that little tow gave him a little bit of an advantage there. So he might be going on board with a Mansell here. And straight he goes. He won't have the tow that he had before from his teammate, I'm afraid. Or Oliver already has to come out, but I don't think that will be happening. Martin in the chat says, I'm liking Doran's improvement over the season on no assists. That is indeed true. That is indeed true. Doran currently P10. He's done a great job at, switching over from I think, I mean, you mentioned that he's running no assist. From switching over assists, from assists to no assists, and you know, I've been a racing driver myself. It was such a hard challenge going from medium traction to no traction, or even from full traction to no traction. And these drivers, you know, they're really struggling, and especially when you've been racing for such a long time, and you have to switch, because with a throttle, right? If you're running medium traction, you can basically go full throttle in 1 second. With you know, no traction, you need to watch out, and you can easily spit it into the wall. And usually after one race where people crash, they say, "Oh, fuck this! I'm just gonna go back to medium traction or full traction." And that is the kind of challenges that these guys have to, you know, leave behind them and try to work around it. Find your own pace, find your own way on how to improve on the assists that you want to use, rather than the one where you're faster at. Because obviously, no traction is going to be the fastest. No ABS is going to be the fastest. No racing line is going to be the fastest. No pit assist is going to be the fastest. Everything is faster. But it's just the way how you use it and how you are going into the race, what kind of mentality you have. Because if you're already going into the race thinking about, I'm gonna crash because I'm running no traction, you know, that's just not the way to go. Because I've got a buddy, here we've got Martin in the chat. Yeah, definitely need to be patient when changing, especially in race with worn tires. Yes, 100%. I've got a buddy, his name is Benji Bucket. He's a very fast driver, one of the faster drivers I know, personally, of course. And he's just a bottle job. He's just a bottle job. He can't, you know, he can't think of anything else that I'm going to crash the next corner. And if you're really going into a race with that mentality, you basically don't have to race at all, because you're going to crash anyway. So you just have to have the right mentality, the right will to learn, the right you know, state of mind to be able to learn something new. You know, there's a difference between wanting to learn and actually learning about something. You know, it's just difficult for racing drivers, as we are currently looking at Cassidy coming around the last corner. This might be a pole time, if I'm being honest. 133.3. Oh, look at that time. 2,000ths away from Calvin Racing. As that's a very close time. I do have to say that Calvin Racing up on his time, I think, is just started his qualifying lap. Ooh, has a little bit of a snap there, going too much onto the curb. As you can see, he's slowing down at the moment, leaving some space for the guys behind him. As there might be a couple of guys on the fast lap. I think the Williams driver, MCFC, puts himself on P4. What happened there? Never seen that kind of lap time from MCFC, and the qualify is already over. Oliver might be up on his time, although he's 500 slower coming around the last corner. Oliver, will he be doing what is expected of him? He will be. Puts him, I mean, he's still in P8. He improved by about a tenth. Maggi, is he up on his time? I think he just started his qualifying lap. Still a lot of guys on the qualifying lap, including the Aston Martin. No, not the Aston Martin. No, he will be doing Aston Martin. Mark Querty. Ah, and Maggi is gonna back out of his qualifying lap, so I don't think we've got too many people still on a fast lap. Utkarsh might be in one. He is heading into sector 3 at the moment. Down the straight, I don't think anyone else will be able to improve. Keeves. Oh, Utkarsh cuts that corner quite aggressively there. I thought there was going to be an invalidation, but he's 7/10 slower anyway, so it's not going to improve. Neither is Matt G, and neither is the rest of the grid. So Matt G only in P8, and then we've got Calvin Racing going for that pole position tonight, as he will be the one starting from the first place of the grid, with his teammate right behind him. So are they going to be playing the team plays again? Noldas in the chat says another ball hair split between the Red Bulls. And then Martin says Calvin and Cassidy split by something. Spoke, find, eloquent. So split between Keeve and Wasp. Oh, wait, what is happening here? Look at that. There is no split at all. That is crazy. That is crazy. A 1:33.328, or was it a 34? I'm not 100% sure, if I'm being honest. All right, guys, I just have to close the door of my room next door because, oh, wait, I need to remove my camera. We'll be going over the grid. So Calvin Racing. Oh, what the hell is this kind of... Look at this, guys. This is the craziest qualifying I've ever seen. Calvin Racing with a 1:33.317. Cassidy with 2,000 slower. Then both Keeves and Mindful was with 11,000 slower. MCFC right behind. And for the rest of the grid, we've got Mansell, Utkarsh, Maggi, Oliver, Alex Hogg, Doran, the V-Car, Shaggy, Torpedo, Yes, Mr. Wales, Ellie, Mark Werty, Gogs, and Tashkern, who got disqualified, unfortunately. I'll be back in a second, guys. I'll be back in a second. Alrighty, guys, I'm back at it again. I'll be enabling my camera again so you guys are going to be able to see me. And hopefully we're going to have as tight of a race as we had a tight qualifying. I'm not 100% sure, though. Usually, it looks a bit cloudy. Do you guys see the same? It looks a bit cloudy here. And I think that might be some signs of rain. And, I mean, America is quite known for its rainy storms and all that kind of stuff, but I'm not 100% sure if that actually happens in Texas. I'm gonna Google that attendance real quick because I wanted to know what... Let me have a quick look. Race attendance and digital audience. 2021, 2022. Let me have a quick look. Race attendance. So, the more than 300,000 experience over the race. USA was in P1, Mexico in P2, and then we had Britain in P3. Was that just for the race? I think it was just for the race, wasn't it? Race weekend attendees over 4 million fans in 2018. So, Texas is not even on here. Okay, fair enough. I think it was somewhere around 400,000. Likely the hoodie tonight, Thomas Gucci. What do you mean, Martin? Oh, liking the hoodie. Oh, no, not Gucci at all, mate. It's H&M, or even cheaper. I don't know. It was like 20 bucks. No idea, actually. 520,000 people at 1995 Australia race weekend. That was the one I was looking for. Thank you very much, Glock. No idea where you found that, because I couldn't find anything about it. But thanks a lot, Martin. I don't know if you're being sarcastic, but I appreciate it. It's pink. Not sure if you saw that, but let's have a quick look with the tires here. Calvin just span into the gravel. Oh man, Calvin, what are you doing, mate? All right, tire-wise, we are looking at a very... No, I don't think it's raining yet. I think it might be raining later, because otherwise the guys won't be going on to hards or mediums. They would be going on to softs like Kvyat. Hard tires for Calvin Racing, Cassidy, and then we've got Keeves, the first driver on the grid with the mediums. Mindful Wasp on the hard, MCFC on the mediums. I know we get a little bit of a switch between the hards and the mediums at the midfield. Then at the back of the grid, we've got the medium tire runners, Mr. Wiggles, Ellie, Mark Werty, Gogs, and Tashkern, all on medium tires. Then the only driver on the soft tires, a very bold strategy, is Kvyat, Torpedo. I hope he's not going to torpedo it into turn 1, because that will be a shame if that happens, actually. Apparently rain possible at the end of the race, or near the race at the end. So that might be something to take in consideration for the hard tire runners. Do they want to, stretch those hards and as long as possible? Alright guys, Speed Force Racing, we're heading into Season 15, Round 8 of the Austin Grand Prix. I hope you guys are ready, because this is going to be an amazing Grand Prix. We've got 5 red lights here in Texas. And away we go. A pretty good start from the Red Bull drivers here as Keeves is right on the tail of both the Red Bulls. Around the outside he goes. They're going 3 wide. Keeves around the outside of Calvin Racing makes the overtake already on the medium tires. Will he be having the benefit? Yes, indeed he will. Has the inside line right now as Mindful wants to make that overtake too. Didn't gain a single position yet. Calvin Racing losing 2 positions. 1 to his teammate, 1 to Keeves. We've got a little bit of chaos here at the back of the grid. Mansell on the tail of his teammate. As I think he lost 3 positions. Oliver is going to let his teammate go through. Around the outside goes Mansell. Tries to make the switchback work. The Haas drivers are not really working together with each other, are they? Mindful was now on the tail of Calvin Racing. As the AlphaTauri driver. Apparently you guys were not able to hear me. I hate my fucking life. Okay, thank you. MCFC now on the tail of Oudkars. As we've got Maggi trying to make the overtake. Mindful makes the overtake on Calvin Racing here in Sector 3. As we're only heading into the first lap of the race. As Calvin Racing already getting pushed from behind. Oudkars puts a lot of pressure on the shoulders of the Red Bull driver, the medium tire runner. Will possibly have more slipstream coming around that last corner. Yes, indeed he will. Here he comes. Has a little bit of a snap there. Will Oudkars be able to make that move? Slipstream he has. Will he be using ERS? Doesn't look like it. Calvin Racing has more straight line speed at the moment. And Mindful was with a beautiful P3. Here comes Oudkars. Beautiful move on the Red Bull driver. Around the outside he goes. As that will be move done by the Indian driver. And now the next target of MCFC is going to be Calvin Racing. And Calvin Racing didn't really have the start he was hoping for. He came from P1 all the way to P5 at the moment already. Lost 4 positions. And what will Doran be doing on the tail of Kvyat Torpedo? Here he comes on the tail. Only 3 tenths separated from the AlphaTauri driver. We might want to focus to the top of the grid again. Oudkars lost though of Mindful Wasp, so we might be having a little bit of a DRS train right behind Oudkars. Oh, Keeves takes the lead of the race. Down the straight he goes. He doesn't have the DRS yet, though. As Cassidy needs to watch out, not going into the back of the Alpine driver. Might want to go back to MCFC, who's just made the overtake on Calvin Racing, and he even lose more positions. Maggi now making the overtake. Oh, we've got Mansell down the inside. Will he be able to keep that position? And that was the overtake I was talking about earlier. You can easily shove it down the inside and make the overtake work. Maggi, who got pushed wide a little bit there, had to go off track to avoid going into the back of Mansell. But Mansell back into P7, made up for his bad start. As now Oliver is going to try and get past the Ferrari driver. Keys with the fastest lap of 137.8. As he's running that BWT Alpine car. And the DRS has been... Oh, yes, you can. DRS has been enabled, so the guys will have the DRS down the straight. Let me have a quick look who is not going to have DRS. Actually, everyone is going to have DRS except for Jess and Mark Werty all the way at the back of the grid. I think Tashkern is on the tail of Gox here. Ah, there we go. Keeves Five in the chat is cheering him on. Keeves currently in P1. He's done a great job already, taking the lead of the race. So you might want to go on board with Cassidy right now, as he will be having the DRS. But I think it will be a little bit more dangerous from behind, because look at that. Mindful Wasp only 2 tenths behind Cassidy. I don't think he has a straight line speed though. Look at that. Cassidy gaining a lot of time down the straight. I don't think he will be able to make that move yet, as Keeves doesn't really need to defend by too much. Is anyone else going to be able to make that move? Kvyat might be. Down the inside he goes. The Aston Martin leaves enough space for him to go past. As Kvyat up into P10. Maggi might be making the overtake again on Mansell. Oh my days. Oliver is now back behind his teammate. Apparently the hard tire runners will come alive around lap 6, according to Daniel. And I mean, the medium tires, I'm not too sure how long they can stretch those medium tires for. But the suggested strategy is, I think, medium hards, especially with a 50% race. I'm not sure if it's already around lap 6, though. I think it will be more around lap 8, because the guys will come into the pits around lap 12, 13. Tashkar now made the overtake on Gogs at the back of the grid, but we're currently focused on Mindful Wasp because he's been sticking around Cassidy's tail for as long as we could think for during this race. And I mean, Mindful Wasp, he might be able to make the overtake now, coming around that turn 10. A little bit of a snap there from Cassidy. So we're heading into turn 11. He will have the opportunity once again. Well, we've seen this earlier where Cassidy had a lot of straight line speed. And there's a yellow flag in sector 2 that is going to be Shaggy all the way at the back of the grid. Apparently the medium tires will last till lap 12. And then they're gone. So lap 12, then you have to do 16 laps on the hards. That will be, 16 laps on the hards. That will be doable. That will be doable. Mindful Wasp is not able to gap past that Red Bull driver, as we might want to go on board with Matt G here, because he's not only pulling away from the Haas drivers, but he's actually gaining some time to the Red Bull driver right in front of him. He's got a 7:10 gap behind him and a 4:10 gap in front of him to Calvin Racing. And I feel like the Haas drivers are not really working together too much with each other to try and get the toe of Matt G. I have the feeling Oliver is a little bit faster at this point during the race. They're all gonna have the DRS at the moment. Might want to go on board with MCFC on the tail of his teammate. He almost goes into the back of Utkarsh, as the Williams team actually doing a great job. I think this has been the most consistent team for now. Although, I mean, I don't think the Williams car had two drivers in them for the last couple of races, because MCFC now just received the full-time seat. MCFC on the tail of Utkarsh. I think he will be able to make that overtake around the outside. He's trying to find his way around Utkarsh. I don't think Utkarsh is just defending the inside line. Not sure what he's doing that for, because now he's just lost the DRS of the guy in front of him. Or is he still gonna have the DRS? I'm not 100% sure. Another crash from Shaggy. I think that will be a virtual safety car. Yes, indeed, it will be. Cassidy, who now had the opportunity to make the overtake down the straight line with the DRS, but fortunately, he's not going to be able to make that overtake due to the virtual safety car. Let's go Shaggy, and let me have a quick look. Lucky strike. No. I am sorry to tell you, but Shaggy already DNF from the race, and it doesn't look like Tashkern is doing a great job either, currently in P16. But the rest of the grid does have DRS though. So they will be able to pull away even more from the back of the grid. Because as you can see, Gogs, Tashkern... Tashkern is going to have the DRS though, but Gogs, Mr. Wiggles all don't have the DRS. MCSC already coming into the pits. Bold strategy by the Williams driver. What tire will he be going on though? Hard tires maybe? The guys cannot race yet. Why are they racing with each other? What is happening? Oh, DRS is enabled. Oh! Mindful Wasp almost going into the back of the Red Bull driver. Now Utkarsh is trying to find his way around the Wasp himself. Oh, apparently a possible retirement on track. Well, Daniel, you not being a car gives you a great overview on who is retiring on the track and what else is whatever is illegal on the side, you know. Let me have a quick look here with Oliver on the tail of Mansell. Once again, the Haas team, I'm not sure if they're working together with each other or just battling with each other. Keeves with a little snap coming around turn 11. We've got a DRS opportunity for Cassidy, and he will be able to make that overtake. Down the main straight they go. Here comes Cassidy down the inside. As he makes that overtake back onto the racing line, Keeves is taking a look down the inside, but he decides to not go for it. And Matt G currently in P6 on the tail of Calvin Racing. Not sure what happened to Calvin Racing, but he just had the worst start I've ever seen in his life. He's just dropped from P1 to P6. Now back into P5 because MCFC made a pit stop. He's gone onto the hards. Alex Hawk crashed. Heading into turn 12, I think that was, if I'm not mistaken. Glock in the chat. Surprised Kvyat did not pit on those softs under VSC. That's 100% true. Currently on 5-lap-old softs. Not sure how long he'll be running those forward. Cox! I think he crashed and will be having a safety car. Oh, there is his car. And I think... Oh, and that's another retirement on track, isn't it, Gogs? And we've got another yellow flag. Might be another virtual safety car. 21 more laps to go. Oh, and we're racing again. Here we go. We've got green flags and go, go, go. A little bit of a gap forming between Utgars and Mindful Wasp at the moment. 1.1 seconds. And also Cassidy is pulling away from Keeves. Keeves is not going to have the DRS. So this opens up a gap for Mindful Wasp with that DRS. He's also on the hard tires. So as Dan said, the medium tires are kind of struggling at the moment compared to the hard Martin compared to the hard tires. And Doran making the overtake down the inside of Torpedo. Here he goes. And it doesn't look like Torpedo can give any resistance. The V-car trying to make the move, but Kvyat is not giving up at the moment. What will the V-car be doing? We've got a good POV from the Alfa Romeo driver at the moment, as it seems like Keeves has closed the gap to Cassidy once again. And they're behind each other with 7 tenths at the moment. Mindful was behind Keeves with about 4 tenths. As it seems like the V-car... Oh, and Kvyat is coming into the pits. I thought it was going to make the overtake around the outside, but it didn't have to. Back of the grid, not many people are really close with each other. Tashkar about 7 seconds down. Well, slower. Well, behind Alex Hawk at the moment. Yes, we've got a little bit of a group pulling away. Calvin Racing struggling to keep the toe off Utkarsh. Let's have a quick look what Matt G can pull off here in Sector 2. We'll have the DRS, so this will be a good opportunity for the Ferrari driver. He is running those 7-lap-old mediums. When will he be coming into the pits? Possibly around lap 12 like Dan and I mentioned. Here's Utkarsh on the tail of the Red Bull driver. What will Keeves be doing? He's pulling closer. He's pulling closer. Here it comes. Down the inside goes Keeves as he takes up P1 again from the Red Bull driver. Although Cassidy around the outside. And Keeves does leave enough space for Cassidy to get past. So beautiful sportsmanship there from Keeves. Leave enough space for Cassidy to make the overtake. And I think Keeves rather is right behind the Red Bull driver than in front of him at the moment, because as you can see, he just gave that position for free. Oliver now made the overtake on his team, and I think Manso crashed, didn't he? No, he didn't. Did he? He's getting overtaken by Doran at the moment. Doran around the outside has the inside line right now. Will he be making a dive bomb? Doesn't look like it. Ooh, and possibly caught a track warning there. Doran, who gained 1 position. He qualified in P10 if I'm not mistaken, currently in P9. So you might want to go back to the front of the grid. Utkarsh on the tail of the AlphaTauri driver. And it's lovely to see that we've got 4 different constructors battling for that race win. Looking at the qualifying, it was looking like Red Bull was just going to pull away. And, you know, Cassidy defending from the guys behind. And you know, Calvin Racing just pulling away. But we saw that Cassidy and Keeves already made that overtake in lap 1, and then Calvin was just dropping positions, and now we've got 4 drivers battling for that for that race win here. 4 different constructors, 4 different drivers, so it's lovely to see. There's such a mixed grid, you know. You've got the McLaren drivers who are a little bit at the bottom of the grid. We've got the Mercedes drivers a little bit at the bottom of the grid. The Alfa Romeo drivers are known to be somewhere at the middle of the grid. But I mean, the Red Bulls in P1, in P5, while they did qualify P1 and P2, Keeves is not able to make the overtake. I'm just gonna have a quick look. Daniel, if I was needs, I'd just sit behind and get pulled along. Keeves, yeah, indeed. I mean, he's on the medium tires. He's on the slower tire anyway, so he's got nothing to lose. If he's just gonna lose more time battling with Cassidy, I don't think it will be beneficial for him. We might want to go on Matt G again as he's on that tail of the Red Bull driver, and this might be his time. 1.6 seconds from Calvin Racing to Utkarsh. Matt G's tires are a little bit slower at the moment, but he's still able to stick to the toe of the Red Bull driver. And Keeves, what will he be doing? He will be doing it down the inside. Here he comes. Backs out of it. Oh, and Mindful Wasp was going into the back of the Alpine driver. That was very risky from Mindful Wasp. I think he kind of missed his braking point. Didn't know that Keeves was going to brake that early, trying to avoid a collision with Cassidy. And then Mindful Wasp just said, oh, fuck this, I'm going down the inside. Here we go. And then, I mean, kind of missed his braking point. Keeves was defending the inside line. And I think that would have been a racing incident, if I'm not mistaken. Keeves just went a little bit too much onto the... I mean, actually, it's his corner. So, I'm not sure. But here again, look at that. Mindful was going into the back of the Alpine driver once again. He will have the DRS, but so will Matt G. So will Matt G. Coming down the line, what will Matt G be doing? A lot of straight line speed for the Red Bull driver. Here he comes, down the inside, back onto the racing line. Keeves retakes P1 during this race. And Cassidy just has to patiently wait and try to get past that Alpine driver again. The most beneficial thing for Keeves that can happen right now is Mindful Wasp trying to push his way into P2. And then they're just losing a little bit of time to Keeves battling with each other, but I don't see that happen anytime soon. Matt G is getting a little bit closer to that top 4 group. Might want to go on board with Oliver once again on the tail of his teammate. And he must be frustrated a little bit here. I mean, they're working together, but they're also not really working together, because look at how much time they're losing to Calvin Racing and Matt G at the moment. Mansell, one of the faster drivers on the grid, 2.4 seconds behind P6 at the moment. And Oliver is just patiently waiting. Alex Hawk crashed coming into turn 17 as the medium tire runners. That is the first indication that the mediums are running out. Matt G almost within a DRS detection point. And they're going side by side right now through this fast left-right-hander. Keeves still takes P1 though, as I think Mindful Wasp is trying to force his way into P2 at the moment. And Utkarsh not very patient either. Look at that, how close these guys are racing with each other. Mindful Wasp down the inside with a good exit. He might be able to make that overtake on the Red Bull driver. Here they come, coming into turn 11. Mindful Wasp is gonna wait. Oh no, he's not gonna wait. No, he is gonna wait. Oh, look at that, mate. He was taking a dive down the inside, but then he went back onto the racing line. Now Utkarsh with a good exit. He will be able to make that overtake. Look at that. DRS, ERS wide open for Utkarsh as he goes down the inside, down the straight. Will he be taking 2 positions at the same time? Doesn't look like it. Mindful Wasp almost going into the back of the Red Bull driver. Utkarsh still down the inside. Here comes Mindful Wasp having the inside line. Who will take P3? It will be Utkarsh if I'm looking at this right now. Mindful Wasp still has the inside line, has the outside line right now. But Utkarsh, oh, and a drive bomb from Mindful Wasp goes into the back of the Williams driver. I don't think that was too much of a problem, but he might have wing damage at the moment. I think Mindful Wasp thought that Utkarsh was not going to defend the inside line, that it was going to go back onto the racing line. And look at that, Matt G and Calvin Racing both have caught up to the top 4. And soon Mansell might be bringing along Oliver and Doran and the V-car with him too. It looks like Calvin Racing is still on the tail of Matt G at the moment. And Cassidy retakes the lead of the race. When will the medium tires be coming into the pits? Because if I look at this right now, it doesn't look like the medium tires are too much slower than the hard tires. Matt G is keeping Calvin Racing behind him. Utkarsh is keeping Mindful Wasp behind him. Keeves is keeping Mindful Wasp behind him. And he's bumping up and down from P1 to P2, back to P1 in a battle with a hard tire runner. So I'm not 100% sure whether the medium tires are done yet. And especially, you know, after that much battles, you would think that the medium tires are just gone already, but it doesn't look like it. Definitely yellow wing for Mindful Wasp, says Daniel in the chat. It doesn't look like he's losing to... Look at that. This is just... Oh, and Calvin Racing goes down the inside of Matt G here with the use of DRS. Beautifully done by Calvin Racing. As he's trying... Oh, a little bit of a bang there from Matt G on the back of the Red Bull driver. But, I mean, there's so many people at the moment battling for P1. I mean, not necessarily for P1, but they're in the battle Oh, and the Red Bull driver goes off track. I saw him lose the car already. Calvin Racing in the wall at the moment. Does he have a broken front wing? Yellow flags have been enabled, and we've got a beautiful battle here for P11, Mr. Wiggles and MCFC. As we've got Matt G coming into the pits. The medium tire runners are coming into the pits at the moment. They're hoping that there's going to be a safeguard, but there isn't. Matt G, Mr. Wiggles, Tashkern, all coming into the pits. Doesn't look like Keeves and Utgars are coming into the pits yet. The V-car in the pits. Daniel in the chat says they'll lose too much time, leaving it too late. They need to get on the hards and get them warm. I'm not sure though, because look at this. Look at this. They're just keeping the toe of the Red Bull driver at the moment. And if they would come into the pits, where would they end up in? Because if as you can see, who came into the pits that was around that? Matt G, for example. He's right in the middle of traffic. He's right behind his teammate. So you will lose time being behind some other drivers too, at the back of the grid or the midfield. So it's something you'll have to take in consideration when coming into the pits. Where will you end up coming out of the pits again? You know, if you're going to be stuck behind 2 or 3 slower drivers, you're going to lose more time than staying on the medium tires for a little bit longer. So yeah, that's definitely something you have to think of. Tashkern, who's now on the tail of Mr. Wiggles, I mean 8-10s, 9-10s. It won't be enough for Tashkern to make the overtake, but he will definitely get a little bit closer. Cassidy now pulling away from Keeves. Keeves, who will possibly come into the pits at the moment. Will he be coming into the pits though? Yes, indeed, he will be coming into the pits. Keeves, the first medium tire runner at the top of 5, who will be coming into the pits. I think Matt G was P6 if I'm not mistaken. Makes the overtake on his teammate though. What will the V-car be doing? Coming into the pits too. Glock in the pit says AKG net leader if you can keep those hearts with decent life. Yes, indeed. Look at that. He's currently in P7. He has a gap of about, I would say, 10 seconds to Cassidy. I mean, not necessarily, Daniel, because if they, I mean, you want DRS, but you're gonna have DRS anyway if you're just sticking it behind Cassidy. No, he's not gonna have the DRS though. But if you're at the back of the grid and you have DRS, but the guys don't let you get past, I mean, there's not, you won't be able to benefit from that undercut that you made going from the mediums to the hards. So that's the problem there. Mark Werty coming into the pits, as I think he crashed out if I'm not mistaken. Ellie also coming into the pits. She's coming out at the moment. Mindful Wasp on the tail of Utgars. It does look like those medium tires are done at the moment. I'm just going to take a quick sip of water. And we're heading into lap 15 out of the 28, so we're already half past the race. And it's been a very, I wouldn't say chaotic one, as we are currently looking at Matt G. Look, this is what I'm talking about, right? Matt G definitely lost about 2 seconds there battling Keeves. Maybe 1 second. So let's say Utgars is coming into the pits right now. Yes, he's going to be behind Matt G, but not by too much. And I think those hard tires will, because Matt G's tires will be 2 lap old hards already when he comes into this lap. It doesn't look like Utgars is coming into the pits yet. So it's just thinking about how you're going to play it out. That's all. If you still have enough life in these mediums, why not just stay out? There's no point in coming into the pits if you still feel very comfortable on the medium tires. Apparently Keeves has now a 4-second advantage over Cassidy. So Keeves, who has already come into the pits on the medium tires. Cassidy, who will have the faster tire at the end of the race. Oh, Keeves with a 3-second time penalty. And MCFC also with a 3-second time penalty. Those are going to be very, very, very big penalties. But I don't think MCFC will be able to last these hards till the end of the race. There's still 13 more laps to go, so it will be on 22 lap old hards. I think that will be a little bit too difficult for the Williams driver without, risking to crash. We've got Torpedo on the back of Matt G at the moment. Matt G, who does have the DRS, already made the overtake on the AlphaTauri driver. It looks like it. Matt G just set the fastest lap. That tells you everything. He's on fresher tires, so doesn't really tell you too much, does it? I mean, it does mean that he didn't lose too much time behind those guys, but still. His tires will be done at the end of the race, and I think Utkar's tires... Oh, we've got Keeves trying to go around the outside of the Torpedo. Torpedo is already on 7-lap-old hards, and now the guys are coming into the pits. Utkar's coming into the pits, so is Cassidy, so is Oliver, so is Mansell. No, Oliver is staying out of the pits. It's Mansell who's coming into the pits, and so is Doran. So let's have a quick look where they're going to end up. Will it be behind Matt G? It will be behind Matt G by quite a bit, actually. Look at that. Matt G will be in front of Cassidy, will be in front of Utgars, it will be in front of everyone. Utgars going onto the soft tires. What kind of strategy is that, mate? 12 laps on the softs. Oh, no, that won't work. That won't work. That won't work. Oh, no, that won't work. I knew he was going to do it, but it... Oh, man, it won't work. It won't work. Nope. I disagree. Utgars. Bold strategy, man. Bold strategy. Here comes Cassidy on the tail of Torpedo. And I haven't seen too many Torpedo actions from the Red Bull driver, from the AlphaTauri driver. Oh, and Utgars almost going into the back of Cassidy here. Cassidy now makes the move down the inside. And it will be Utgars having the DRS. But will that be enough? Getting past Kvyat. Yeah, Daniel, softs for Utgars. Bold strategy, but I mean... You know, you never know. You never know. I mean, I think we do know. Matt G on the tail of Keeves here. Hard tires for the Ferrari driver. Let's have a quick look. Please prove us wrong, Utgar, says Dan. Oh, and this was the dive bomb I was talking about earlier. If you leave too much space down the inside, you can simply make a dive bomb. Matt G going off track. A 5-second time penalty for Mindful Wasp. That is the biggest penalty we've seen so far. And it will be a very harsh one if I'm being honest. Oh, Naldo's in the chat. Maybe he thinks it's going to be raining soon. That could be it. Because, Daniel, I think you mentioned that it was maybe going to rain at the end of the race, but it doesn't look too cloudy at the moment. Oh, what is Cassidy doing? He just threw it down the inside there. Matt G around the outside. Here they come into turn 2. Into turn 3. This will never work, guys. This will never work. Cassidy is yielding from that move. And Utgars on the soft tires doesn't look like he's able to keep that toe of the guys in front of him. Oh, look at this beautiful scenery. I think we should have more of this kind of scenery in Formula 1. This is beautiful. Look at that. Cassidy on the tail of Matt G. Look at that. Beautifully done by Cassidy. Good traction coming out of turn 11. And now he just has the DRS, which he'll be able to use down the straight. I think he still has a lot of ERS left too. And Matt G defending the inside line of Utgars. Utgars around the outside at the moment with those soft tires. That should be easy job for the Indian driver. And yes, indeed it will. Will we be seeing a heavy battle from Matt G trying to make a move down the inside? Utgars defending the inside line. Beautifully done. And Cassidy. Oh, and I think it's Utgars having a collision with Keeves there. Matt G retakes P4. And the guy in the front of the pack, MCFC, on 11-lap-old hards. He won't be able to pull this off. I'm sorry, MCFC. You've done your best, but it's still 11 more laps to go. I don't think he'll be able to pull it off, especially with that 3-second time penalty. Cassidy with the fastest lap at the moment. And Utgars, he's right on the tail of Matt G again, so I don't think there was a good or a bad strategy, if I'm being honest. Oh, and Utgars makes two moves at the same time. One on Matt G and one on Keeves, but the one on Matt G did work, and the one on Keeves didn't work. Matt G forcing his way through the field at the moment. Up into P4 again. I think he just had a little tap saying to Utgars, you know, you have to wait your turn. I'm going to make that overtake on Keeves first, and then it's your turn. But Keeves, I mean, he's definitely not going to be happy with that. Mindful Wasp with another 3-second time penalty. We might want to have a quick look at the penalties here. 8 seconds for Mindful Wasp, 3 seconds for Keeves, 3 seconds for MCFC. Then at the back of the grid, we've got, at the middle of the field, we've got Doran, Oliver, Tushkern, and Mr. Wiggles all on 3-second time penalties. We might want to focus on the guys behind too, but I feel like, you know, they're not really making a move anytime soon, so find a little bit sad. Although here at the back of the grid, we have a 3-wide move It is the Haas driver down the inside, the Alpine driver. Oh, a little bit of a collision, a little bit of a kiss there from Doran and Oliver, but the V-car, you can definitely see that he's the senior here. He's got more knowledge about racing than anyone else. I mean, that's a good thing, by the way, the V-car, if you're re-listening this live stream. He just yielded from that move because he knew 3 wide wasn't going to work in that corner. And that's the racing I love to see from these guys. Just patiently wait your turn. You're going to make the overtake anyway, even when those two were going to make a mistake. Oh, and we've got another 3 move. Matt G drops back to P5. Mindful Wasp up into P3. Utkarsh with a good exit might be able to make that overtake again. And Utkarsh retakes P3. And Matt G, I feel like, you know, he's just on these older tires. He's struggling to keep the toe and keep this position. Also here, Mansell on the tail of Keeves. Ooh. And Keeves doesn't have any ERS left. So that is definitely something that will be playing a big part in this battle. And the DRS will be enabled for Mansell. Might also be enabled for Keeves. Yes, indeed it will. Someone in the chat says they've let Cassidy break free if it's his to lose now. Yes, indeed. And he also made the overtake on MCFC at the moment. Utkarsh getting overtaken by Mindful Wasp with the DRS. Mindful Wasp up into P3 again. Mr. Smoke in the chat says Keefe should have been further up the road. Actually, I mean, he's only in P7. I wouldn't say that's bad, but that 3-second time penalty will be playing big part in his final standings, because even if he makes the overtake on Mansell, Matt G, and Utkarsh, he just simply won't be able to keep that position because of that 3-second time penalty. Race of the season from Matt G, impressive from him. Yes, indeed, he's just been able to keep those guys, well, keep the toe of those guys. Now is going to lose about 1.1 second to the guy ahead, which is going to be Utkarsh, but still a P5 for the Ferrari driver. He's doing a splendid job at the moment. Mindful was making the overtake. MCFC coming back into the pits, might be going on to the soft tires, trying to pull a fastest lap out of his back. Tire-wise, we're looking at 4 lap-old softs from Utkarsh. And looking at the position changes, 4 positions gained for Matt G, also for Utkarsh. And we've got 10 positions gained for Tashker, and he was not looking very great at the beginning of the race. But now it doesn't look too bad for the Mercedes driver. Mansell on the tail of Matt G, and Matt G is now losing a little bit of time, so I don't want to say much, but Daniel, I said so. The guys on the, you know, Utkarsh, Mindful Wasp, they all came into the pits a little bit later. I feel like Matt G could have stayed out a little bit longer trying to gain that toe. And you will have fresher tires at the end of the grid. Now he's just battling with the medium tires and the fresher hard tire runners. And I don't think he will be able to compete with those 3 wide. It is Oliver trying to go down the side of the Alpine driver. A little bit of wheel tapping there between Oliver and Keeves. But Keeves... Oh, Matt G lost about 3 positions there. 1 to Keeves, 1 to Oliver, 1 to Mansell. Mansell up in P4 again. Gavin Racing. Oh, this has really not been his race. P11. He qualified in P1. And I think he's just been a little bit unlucky with that race start. Dropped from P1 to P6 in a matter of laps. And then he just crashed in turn 14, I think it is, turn 15. That long right-hander in Sector 3. It's just so unfortunate for the Red Bull driver with such a good qualifying. And I wish we could have given him some points for qualifying in P1. But unfortunately, that's not how it works here in Speed Force Racing. Door now on the tail of Matt G. Will Matt G lose another position? Unfortunately, I think it will, because those medium tire runners are just a little bit faster at the moment. And that's the benefit of starting on the hard tires. If you can just keep the toe of the medium tire runners and keep them behind or keep them just in front of you, you will be able to have the faster tire at the end of the race, and the difference will be a little bit bigger than the beginning of the race, because you've got so many downforce, and not downforce, but like fuel in your car, that the medium tires just degrade a little bit faster. So the difference between medium and hards at the beginning of the race is just a little bit smaller than at the end of the race, because now they don't have too much fuel in their car. The medium tires, they don't have too much pressure on them at the moment. So, you know, the medium tires will be fresher at the end of the race than at the beginning of the race, if that makes sense. But we are looking at a beautiful move there from, I mean, a beautiful defensive move from Matt G, as he's able to keep the Alpine driver right behind him. But Matt G finds himself in an Alpine sandwich, which is not usually the one you want to be in. You don't want to be in a sandwich anytime with any team, you know. But Matt G, I mean, he's not able to keep the toe of Keeves. So I think Doran is doing a splendid job trying to keep Matt G away from that DRS from Keeves, as he's not going to make a move down the inside. Beautifully done there by Doran. Do they have DRS down the straight there? I'm not sure. And he gives back that position to Matt G. Not 100% sure what he's doing that for. Both the Haas drivers are having a battle at the moment. Oliver retaking P4, but he does have that penalty, so I'm not sure what they're doing at the moment. They're just losing more time battling with each other. Doran on the tail of Matt G once again. And I've seen Matt G take the same line over and over again to just have a better exit coming through this part of the track. And as you can see, he's pulling away a little bit, 3/10 at the moment, but Doran just has so much straight line speed coming through that turn 10 as we're heading into turn 11 at the moment. And it looks like Matt G is letting him pass Doran, making the overtake with the use of DRS at the moment. Beautifully done by Doran. Not too difficult of a move, if I'm being honest. But I think what Matt G is doing is trying to let Doran pass to grab that DRS again from Keeves, and then he uses Keeves' teammate against himself, and I think that's a great way of thinking from the Ferrari driver. It doesn't look like the top 4 is going to change anytime soon. Mansell possibly won't be making that move on his teammate because he knows he's got that penalty anyway. Still 6 more laps to go. I'm just going to have a quick look in the chat. Still a great race from him. Let me test something. Superb driving, Cassidy. Truly awesome. Yes, 100%. Cassidy, I mean, Mindful Wasp, who's pulling a little bit closer at the moment. 1 second. He's almost within that DRS second, but he does have that 8-second time penalty. He had a 5-second time penalty from speeding in the pit lane, so we might want to focus to Mr. Wiggles here, as he's on the tail of Torpedo, and then at least we will be able to cover a move from the back of the grid. Utgars with a 3-second time penalty. That is a big penalty, and as things are looking like right now, we are gonna see Mansell in the top 3. A big penalty there from the Indian driver, possibly losing his P3 here. And he was just doing such a splendid job. Mansell now making the overtake on Oliver. I think that is what Oliver knows. You know, I don't think Oliver needs to battle too much with his teammate, because then Mansell kind of loses that 3 seconds to Utgars. Oh, and we've got a possible overtake there from Keeves on his teammate. I think they've kind of lost the toe of Matt G. I mean, it's the other way around. Matt G has lost the toe of the Alpine drivers. And now he's got that annoying Alfa Romeo of the V-Car, who we've not seen too many times yet during this race. We're heading into lap 24 out of the 28, so still 5 more laps to go after this one. And Oliver on the tail again. Mindful was caught up to Cassidy here, so that will be a great battle, but I don't think it's completely necessary for Mindful Wasp to make it difficult for Cassidy. Maybe he can make a 5-second gap to Utgard. My apologies, guys. I don't know. I have no idea what my headset is doing. It's just one of those days where my headset doesn't want to work. So as I said, Mindful Wasp might want to use that DRS to his advantage. We've got Alex Hawk making the overtake on Ellie at the back of the grid. And I think he will be able to pull away from Utgars, if I'm being honest. 3.3 seconds at the moment. He's got the DRS, so that's great. Utgars definitely doesn't have the DRS, so we might want to focus to the V-Car here on the tail of Matt G. Matt G still has that DRS from the guy in front of him, so he's done a great job catching up and trying to keep the V-Car behind him. The V-Car at the moment in P9, gained 3 positions, but he's got Calvin Racing right behind him. I think the Aston Martin driver is letting everyone go through. And it will be a 3-way battle at the moment because none of those guys have a penalty at the moment. Matt G, who still is going to gain 2 positions because Doran and Keeves both have a penalty. I don't think he will be able to get a position from Oliver. Mansell still sticking to the toe. I mean, still sticking within that 3 seconds of Utgars. Heading into lap 25 out of the 28 at the moment. Nice to see Haas near the front. I'll show where they really are tomorrow, is what Smoke says in the chat. Another yellow flag in Sector 3. Sector 2 while going into Sector 3. Mark Worthy possibly. Oliver at the moment in P5. I'm just going to take one big sip before we're heading into the last stage of the race. Calvin Racing on the tail of the V-car. Let's have a quick look. This might be a very spicy battle here. MCFC with another 3-second time penalty. And Calvin Racing will have the DRS. Another... Oh, and that will be a retirement on track, possibly from Alex Hawk. Or is that Mark Worthy? I think it will be Alex Hawk. Oh no, it's not a retirement. I thought it was a retirement. Never mind, guys. Oh, and here comes out Calvin Racing. Down the inside he goes. With the use of DRS, the V-car still trying to find his way down the inside, but unfortunately he couldn't pull it off. Oh, and now Alex Hawk retired in the pit lane. The only we will see is from your tears as you spin out, is what Daniel says in the chat to Mr. Smoke. Let's have a quick look with the tail of Oliver. Well, not the tail of Oliver, but the tail of Mansell, where Oliver finds himself at right now. Dashkern. He's lost a couple of positions, I do have to say that. Calvin Racing on the tail of Matt G. Here he comes, down the inside he goes. Make that overtake. And yes, indeed he does. Matt G trying to make switchback work. Is he going to be able to pull that off? As a little bit of a snap. Calvin Racing retakes P8. And retakes what's his. Oh, Alex Hawk apparently has a 2-day hangover. That is not great, Alex. That is not great. I mean, still, you did a great job, buddy, trying to, keep the toe of the rest of the grid. You weren't able to pull it off, but at least you tried. And that's what we'd love to see here in Speed Force Racing. Just trying to keep that toe for as long as possible. And, don't give up. Don't give up. That's the most important thing. And I think these two will just keep the positions as they are. Oliver is not going to make the overtake on his teammate. We're heading into lap 27 out of 28. An ultimate lap. Matt G might be able to pull something off here on the tail of Calvin Racing. We might want to have a quick look with the tires at the moment. The hard tires for Matt G might be a little faster than the medium tires of Calvin Racing. But the... Ooh, Utgars. Ooh, look at that. 10 lap old soft tires. He's going to lose that position to Mansell anyway. But he's kind of gaining time to Mindful Wasp, which doesn't make too much sense if you ask me, because 11 lap old softs shouldn't be faster than 10 lap old mediums at all. And he's able to pull closer to Mindful Wasp anyway. So as things are looking like right now, Mansell will be taking P2, with Mindful Wasp dropping back to P4, and Utgars will just keep P3. Maggi losing the toe of Calvin Racing at the moment. So we might want to have a quick look at the penalties. 8 seconds for Mindful Wasp, 3 seconds for Utgars, and then we've got 3 seconds for Oliver. 6 seconds for both the Alpine drivers, so they will lose about 2 positions each. No, 3 positions actually. 1 to Calvin Racing, 1 to Maggi, and 1 to the V-car. And then we will possibly be seeing Torpedo gaining a position due to those 3 seconds from Tashkern. Maybe from the 6 seconds of MCFC, but I think MCFC is on fresher tires, so he won't be able to make that overtake anytime soon. And Mindful Wasp caught the toe of Cassidy again. I think he's really pushing now, trying to stay out of that 5 seconds of Utkarsh. And Utkarsh is really struggling on those softs. You can really see him slide all over the place. Even has to lift coming through this part of the track. 3.5 seconds behind as we've got both the Haas drivers charging their way around the last part of the track, heading into lap 28 out of the 28. Last lap has been activated for all of these guys, but I'm not 100% sure whether Utkarsh is going to be able to pull this off. Will he be keeping P3 or will he drop back to P4? If Mansell can pull away for 1.5 more seconds, he will be able to pull it off. But it will be a very hard challenge. Calvin Racing made the overtake on Keeves. He was going to make the overtake again with the use of DRS. But I think Keeves was just trying to keep the Red Bull driver behind him for as long as possible. But still, 6 seconds of a penalty is just too much. Kvyat on the tail of the Mercedes driver. Might want to go on board with Mindful Wasp here. He will have the DRS down the straight. And 4.1 seconds for Utkarsh at the moment. So it's only 9 more tenths for Mindful Wasps to gain on Utkarsh here. Down the straight into Sector 3. I think it will be too much. I think it will be too much. Oh, Mansell making the overtake on Utkarsh. And he will make it difficult for Utkarsh, if I'm being honest. Oh, Oliver trying to go down the inside. Oh, Utkarsh is definitely losing more time now. Oliver retaken P4. I'm not sure whether that was the right move to make, but Utkarsh is really struggling on those softs. Mindful Wasp will take P4 as things are looking like right now. It depends though, it depends. Oliver is actually gaining time to Mindful Wasp at the moment. As we're heading into the last corner of the race, here comes Cassidy to take your race win. Didn't get a single penalty. Mindful Wasp does have that 5-second time penalty. Mansell coming down the line, and Mindful Wasp drops back to P4. Utkarsh with an unfortunate P5. He thought it was going to rain. Apparently it wasn't going to rain. Magi drops back to P9. Very unfortunate. The V car with a good P7. I do have to say that. Beautiful racing from the Alfa Romeo driver. Kvyat moves up to P10. So he did gain some time to MCFC here. And let me have a quick look if there's anything else happening on the grid. Doesn't look like it. Mark QWERTY with a mentionable P17 gained 1 position. But unfortunately, 1 minute and 14 seconds behind. All I can say is practice, and you will be able to keep it closer to the guys ahead. But for the rest, we've got Cassidy gaining a lot of points on the Drivers' Championship. But also gaining the respect of many people watching this live stream at the moment, as he was able to pull off a P2 to a P1 here during the Texas Grand Prix, the Austin Grand Prix, however you want to call it, the United States Grand Prix. Many people call it different. Calvin Racing in the chat says, so annoyed, man. I can definitely understand why. It's just very unfortunate for you, Mr. Calvin, as we're currently looking at the Drivers' Championship. Oh, I mean, the Drivers' Standings, the driving results. That is what I was about to say. Cassidy taking P1 and taking full points. Not really full points because MCFC has the fastest lap with a 136.5, but he still takes full points, which you can get from finishing first. Doesn't really matter. Mansell in P2, Oliver in P3, Mindful Wasp in P4, and further we've got Utkarsh, Calvin Racing, the V-Car, Dorn, Magi, and Torpedo in the top 10. Then we've got MCFC, Keeves, Tashkern, Wiggles, Yes, Ellie, Mark QWERTY, and then we've got our DNFs, Alex, Gogs, and Shaggy. So that is gonna be your Austin Grand Prix, guys. I would like to thank you for watching this live stream, watching this race, together with me and the rest of the guys in the chat. Would definitely ask you to give a thumbs up to the video if you haven't already. If you think it was a nice video, make sure to thumbs up. And yeah, follow the YouTube channel of Speed Force Racing if you haven't already. I've also got my little YouTube channel and everything underneath, so make sure to give that a follow too if you haven't already. Hey guys, I would like to thank you very much for watching this live stream. My name is VB Thomas, and I've covered Season 15, Round 8 of the Austin Grand Prix tonight here in Speed Force Racing. All I can say is thank you very much for listening and watching, and I will see you guys next week. Peace out.